Hello, I hope you can hear me all right. This is a little bit of a test to check out mics and so on, to see if they're working. I've had a bit of trouble technically, but I've got stuff I want to say, and I know that probably people won't be watching live because it's, well, if you're in the UK you might. It's still early, it's about 9:30 in the morning, so if you're in the USA you're probably still asleep. But if it works, then I'll leave it up and you can watch it later on playback. I want to talk about the names of God and light codes, or the names of God as light codes. So there's a few things that I want to get through, but I am just going to check, bear with me, that this is streaming. And in particular, I just want to check that the mic's working. So let me see if I can get that up. Your channel. Okay. Let's see if that, yeah, it looks okay. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Can't fully tell, but I'm going to press on with it anyway. Firstly, this book. This is the book that I've been looking at. I'll keep taking my glasses on and off because I know that you just get the ring light and it can be a bit annoying. Names of God. By Yehuda Berg, and I've been really enjoying looking at this. 72 names of God, and I'm going to tell you what is meant by the names of God and how they are devised, because it might not be what you think, but you know, it's making a lot of sense to me personally. I'm finding it really, really satisfying because since becoming a reconnective healing practitioner, I've been wanting to make sense of reconnective healing. I know the experience of it. I know it's powerful and real, tangible in my body. I feel it as an electrical impulse, and I know that people have had remarkable, miraculous transformations as a result of it, including obviously, you know, improvement in physical symptoms, but also in opening up situations, possibilities, releasing blockages, all of those kind of things. So I know there's something in it, and I wanted to get to the heart of it because I know it's spiritual, and I also know it's a kind of science as well. I know it's scientific. It's not just woo-woo stuff. It's not just made up thinking. And it brought me back, the Connective Healing brought me back to the Keys of Enoch, and in the dedication of the Keys of Enoch it says that this teaching is given in preparation for the Brotherhood of Light, to be delivered for the quickening of the people of light. The quickening of the people of light. And people of light are the human race, everybody. And the story that we have in the 72 names comes through the people of Israel, the children of Israel. It's the story of them being delivered from slavery in Egypt into the promised land, from captivity to freedom. But it's not a story about a tribe, a particular historical tribe. We have to understand this is a kind of motif. It's an archetypal story of the soul. At an individual level, it's a story of the soul in its journey in your life, plays out again and again and again. And it's also the story of the human race. Okay, so what we have with the 72 names, we have some key passages from the story of the Exodus that we find in the book of Exodus in the Bible, and in particular the verses that talk about the pillar of cloud that leads the children of Israel, the Israelites, into freedom. So in the daytime there is a pillar of cloud, and when night falls that turns to a pillar of light. And this is seen as an angel, it's angelic forces. But what it does, interestingly, is it blocks between the enemy, the oppressor. So in the story, you have Pharaoh as the antagonist, who is the tyrant, you know, the archetypal tyrant. And Moses leads the children to freedom, children of Israel to freedom. Pharaoh decides that he'll change his mind after the after the floods and all the plagues and all of the the diseases, that befall the Egyptians because they won't do what God is asking. They won't let the children go free. And then eventually he says, okay, go. And if you remember the story, he changes his mind and sends his armies after them when they get to the Red Sea. And just as they arrive at the Red Sea, Moses reaches forth his hand and the sea parts and becomes dry land, and the Israelites can walk across. As soon as the Egyptian army try to follow, the seas collapse. The seas just come back together and they're drowned. They can't get through. This is all symbolic. I'm not going to even discuss whether or not this is a historical story. It's a really important archetypal story for us to understand. It works at so many levels because it's vibrational. The crossing is vibrational, and for the pure of heart is what I'm hearing. For the pure of heart, the waters part. And by pure of heart, we mean those aligned with the truth of reality. And what do I mean by that? It isn't about people having different truths. You hear people say, don't you? You hear people say, oh, I'm entitled to my opinion and you have your opinion. There's only one truth. But in this 3D version of reality, the tyrants will hold on to power, and they'll hold on to power by any means. And so they will tell different stories. Or then they will plant the idea of fake news here and fake news there to just confuse people. And it's a form of manipulation and control, but there is only one truth. And as we prepare and move into new earth, then those who are not vibrationally ready will remain in old earth. There is this kind of parting of the ways that is happening, that we're kind of experiencing and we're living through at the moment. So the names of God are activations that quicken, just as it said, activations that quicken the people of light. And they're light activations that we recognise within us truth, because we are made in the image of God. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but I want to first explain how these are made. So I'm going to show you one. The one I want to show you to begin with is this one. See that? Okay, so you can see that there are 3 Hebrew letters. You don't have to be able to read Hebrew. I can't read Hebrew. I don't know how to pronounce that. I wouldn't know how to say it. So that when we talk about names of God, it could be misleading. You might be expecting a word, but it isn't. It's actually the very fact of those graphemes. When your eye sees them at a deeper level, at a different level, your soul recognizes it and responds to it. It's helping you to find your way home. It's the pillar of light by night and the pillar of cloud by day. That's what I'm just hearing. So how are those letters formed? Well, in the story, I don't know the verses, chapter and verse, but the story that tells of the angel of God. God's angel had been travelling in front of the Israelites group and now moved behind them. So that's a verse in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible. And if you write those words in Hebrew, okay, what they did was they got a chart. This is quite mathematical, right? This is like sacred geometry and maths. I don't fully understand it. But they got a chart 9 by 8, so you've got 72. You know, like if you were to do a chart 9 by 8 and you've got the little boxes, 72. And a word in each of the boxes. No, God's angel had been travelling, and you carry on going, reading from right to left, okay? And then you go on to the next section, another box. So there are 3 boxes in all of 9 by 8, 72. and the story of the deliverance, of God's deliverance through light and through this vibrational separation. It's not God saying you're good and you're bad. It's not God judging. It's law. And by law, I mean if your heart is pure, for the pure of heart, the waters will part. If you're driven, governed, living by love, the waters will part. You will enter the new earth. If you're governed by fear, you will remain in old earth. It's kind of your choice in a way, because we have freedom of will, we have freedom of choice, but the freedom is which story do you choose? Because depending on who's telling the story, there'll be a different version of it. So even using the word new earth, for some people, that's a positive thing. It certainly is for me. It's the idea of the land of plenty. It's the idea of a place, heaven on earth. It's where there's freedom, where there's enough food to feed everyone, where greed isn't spoiling our planet. We can live more cooperatively and more in tune with nature and so on. It's just a better world, a better vision. But for other people, a new earth, they think of a new world order, and it's a dystopia because they believe that there are powers, there are people, like a group, a cabal, that are trying to control, and that you lose freedom somehow, that they're thinking still of the Marxist communist model, which is part of old earth thinking. Because in Marxism you've still got old humanity programming that seeks to control power corrupts, and so, but those patterns won't be able to function in New Earth, because anybody that holds or is running that pattern won't be there. Only for the pure of heart do the waters part. Do you get what I'm saying? So it really is a choice, and I've been quite critical in the past of people who've chosen to believe the negative narrative, the narrative that fears the releasing, moves beyond borders and nationalism, and sees us as one humanity, people that retreat to nationalism. But what I'm reminded is that that's through fear. It's always through fear. They'll go back to what is known. And so, that we have a choice. And this first name represents time travel. To come on to just talking about this first name, because each one of the 72 names has a kind of theme, so that when we are looking at it, it's activating, yes, light codes, but they're reminding us of truths. And they're teaching us in the unseen at a soul level that almost bypasses our cognition, okay? But this one in particular relates to time travel. When we want to undo past crimes in order to banish their painful effects from our lives and the lives of others, this name provides us with an ingenious travel device. It's not back to the future, it's not like time travel in a literal sense, because it's happening at a soul level. And it's the universal truth that for every positive action, for every positive and negative action, actually there is an equal and opposite reaction. Karma, in other words. And the reason that we don't believe that often, or we're not convinced of that, is because we see that wickedness goes unpunished. Or we see that good deeds, the bad things happen to good people. And so we lose faith in that. But what we forget is that time is the distance between cause and effect. Time is the space between the crime and the consequence. Time is the gap between a good deed and a dividend. So time travel is kind of removing that factor of time that is part of 3D reality. It's stepping into eternity where there is no time, and kind of cleaning up. Now, that in the meditation that goes with this name, the call is to awaken remorse in the heart for prior misdeeds. Accept the frank truth that the problems in your life are a result of past actions. Concentrating on this name will uproot negative seeds already planted, transform past and reshape the present, and release the future for joy. This reminds me so much of Ho'oponopono. I just want to say, before I come back to talking about Ho'oponopono, this about the positive and the negative effects in the 3D reality that we're in, our memory of those deeds fades over time, because this universal law of cause and effect may not happen within a timeline that we expect. It may not happen days or months or years, or it might be even, decades or even lifetimes later. And so when there is that delay, it means that our memory fades, and we don't necessarily equate it back to, we don't make a connection to the deeds. But all of the problems that are showing up in your life and my life are as a result of cause and effect. Now, you might protest at that. The ego will say, well, that's not fair. The ego will protest. But the point is, the ego is just a temporary, the soul is having a temporary experience in human form, okay? But the story of the soul goes back aeons. And the point is, there is only one soul. One soul that is finding expression in many different sparks or fractals of light that we call individual lives, that I give the name Jill, that you give the name whatever your name is. This is deep teaching. But what's liberating about this is that if we can just step out of the small self and say, okay, I'm going to do this practice. I'm actually going to say that prayer. I'm going to see that all the problems that I encounter in life are in my life. Therefore, I'm going to take responsibility for them, and I'm going to clean up for them. And in this Kabbalic teaching, because this comes from the Jewish mysticism root, then the idea of a root of a plant is used. That's the metaphor that's used, that we can uproot it while it's still a little seedling by just acknowledging it. Awareness is what brings purity of heart. Denial and projection is what just compounds the problems and keeps the negative patterns replaying over and over and over. And then we just get into this tangled mess that we're in now, as we know we are. But if I can, from a point of awareness, say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And of course I'm using the Ho'oponopono pattern there, aren't I? It's the same thing. Ho'oponopono just uses a metaphor that's about technology, information technology, computers, the data, memory replaying and cleaning the memory to make space in your computer, in the system, for new fresh inspiration to come in. This is more ancient, uses a metaphor of uprooting a plant, a weed, and then the soil is able to become a fertile place for other good things to grow. So do it in your life. Say that prayer and know that because because you are connected to the whole, then you're not just cleaning up your own life, your own past. Remember, this doesn't even have to be conscious. You just do it as a practice, because you're going back into ancestral stuff as well. But also you're expanding to national, global problems that are replaying. You know, when I prepared this, because I knew I wanted to make a video, I just wanted to display the name in a certain way. I didn't want it just to be on a little scrap of paper that I was holding up to show you. And so I just got some watercolour paper, and I did a picture. I started drawing. I had an idea. But the point was, my initial idea was, I'll do a clock face, because I knew it was about time travel. And so I got this sort of circle here and did a few watercolour things. And I even tried to mask out where the hands of the clock face might be. And then when I peeled off the masking tape, it all went a bit rubbish. It didn't work. But look, it's almost like a pillar of light. I didn't know that when I was doing it. Never had even any thought of that. Completely unconscious. And look at the colours that I've chosen. Almost makes that circle look a bit like planet Earth, doesn't it? And what's happening this week? The COP27 conference, where all the world leaders joined to try and sort out the problem we've made of this, just the planet, how we're going to reverse some of the damage we've done and try and save it. And where is that conference being held? Egypt. And then look, with the background, it was just white. I thought, I just need some colour. I didn't want to do one colour, like block colour, so I just doodled, did a little bit of a scribble here, and then put one colour in. Next day, I wanted a strong colour, and that it'd make it just a bit stand out. Come back the next day, did another colour, and look what else we've got. What else is happening this week? The US midterm elections. And we've got red and blue pretty much evenly split at the moment, by the look of it. I had no idea. None of that was conscious. So what I'm saying is, the stuff happening beneath the surface that we don't even know about, but we just do the work. We do the practice. We trust the process. And we remember that you are so much more than you think you are. Your words are powerful. Your words have consequence, cause and effect. So use your words with care and speak words of love. Your actions are powerful. Your practices are powerful. So I hope that gives you some hope and encouragement to use this holy name for cleaning up. And I've left it here during, I wanted this to be here actually while the video was playing, because it's a tool. It's a tool. It just carries on doing the cleaning while I go off now and do other things in my day. That will keep doing the cleaning. And even just playing this video and having this video running in the background, it's cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. So let me know in the comments what you make of that, if it reminds you of anything, if you have any further questions, because I want to just delve deep with this and keep it coming. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do all 72 of the holy names, but I've certainly got one ready for next time. Already prepared one. Here's a little quick glimpse of it, and that's all going to be about recapturing the sparks of light. So we're back to this theme about us all being fractals of the divine and there only being one soul. So if that's new to you and you want to know more about that, then stay tuned. Like and subscribe if you don't already subscribe to this channel, if you've just happened upon it. And